Welcome back. I installed a chain hoist. I wanted to show you what I went through to get it up there, and hopefully I don't take down half my garage. So one of the first things I'm going to have to do when I start working on this car again is remove the engine. Now in my last garage, I borrowed a cherry picker from a coworker of mine. This is very kind to let me keep it in my garage for months. But as you can see, I don't have a ton of room to store it. And I was kind of thinking about options here, and it occurs to me when I was up doing the insulation and wiring and everything in the garage, I've got an I-beam going all the way across. I was wondering if it was possible to use a beam clamp and a little chain hoist, just to be on the safe side. The beam's right there. I had heard stories of some builders just kind of not reinforcing what you would expect to see supporting this end of the beam is a stack of 2x4s or potentially a beam if required. So I cut a little window here, and there's the insulation I had blown in, and yay, they actually stacked a bunch of 2x4s there. Now, a small block Ford engine is 460 pounds. When you add on the weight of the clamp, the weight of the hoist, everything else, we'll round up to 500. That's, we'll call it two hefty guys. I know for a fact I was up there crawling around doing the insulation and wiring. Multiple guys were up there doing the blowing in the actual insulation. I think we're fine. If we're not, then, you know, I could crush myself and take down half my house. So that'll be fun. But to be on the safe side here, 500 pounds is a quarter ton. I got a 2-ton beam clamp and a 2-ton chain hoist. They all say they're certified. They were made overseas. So who knows? I figure just for the sake of margin, I'm going to go overkill, and hopefully it doesn't crash down on my head. So if I align this with the center of that part of the garage, this is going to will be easy to see, but almost in line with that light. But I figure I've got all this space. If I'm going to be lifting an engine, I'm going to want access to all sides. So really scoot it out another 10 inches, and it's going to be basically in the middle of this garage bay right here. I think that works. It's kind of tough to hold this up in the camera, but at least the casing around this beam is a little bit wider than the maximum this will allow. So we'll see. Who knows, I might be upgrading to the 5-ton. Okay, I cut a little relief cut in there. I don't know if you can see. Looks like they boxed this I-beam with 2x4s on either side before they drywalled, which is surprising to me. I was kind of hoping that the beam was hanging a little bit lower than this. But if I take a quick measurement from the bottom of the beam to this drywall, it's about 2 3/8. Then if I go from the ceiling to the same spot, it's about 3 3/8, give or take. So there's just about an inch from the ceiling that this is hanging down. The bottom of the beam is hanging down. I mean, in order to make this work, I'm going to have to cut out this 2x4 on both sides. Presumably it's boxed in on there as well, to get the clamp to go around the beam, the beam. But I think I might also need to cut up into the ceiling, which I don't like any of this. We'll see. I have to go up into the attic for something else today. We'll see if it makes sense. If I cut this away, if I can reinforce on either side, just because, I mean, I know I get an I-beam right here. It's not super structural, this 2x4, but still, I don't like cutting away things that might be structural. Okay, here is what I'm talking about. So yeah, from the bottom of the beam to the top of the ceiling, or I guess the bottom of the ceiling is 1 inch. As it sits right now, best case scenario, I'm looking at 2 1/4. So there's no way that this would work, wrap around the bottom flange of the beam and not hit the ceiling. Okay, so if I'm going to get this to work, I'm going to have to really open up a little frame around so that this goes up into the ceiling. And if I do that, I'm going to want to definitely box it in, have insulation blown up in there. And I don't want a hole directly exposed to the ceiling. And I'm pretty sure that that's not up to code. Here's a neat little trick to find something in the insulation. I just drilled a hole through the drywall, and I've got a piece of piano wire with a with some blue tape on it. You can also use, if you've got some of those little garden flags that folks, you can do this one-handed, that folks put in your lawn. That works too. Let's see if we can feed that up in there. Beautiful. Now, I should be able to locate this. I'm going to bend it and stick it into the drywall so it doesn't fall back down.
Well, that's cool. I missed a joist by about 1.5 inches. Fun times. Okay, let me investigate this length right here and see kind of what the structure looks like, and if it's something I feel comfortable that I can support with 2x4s and brace it up.
Okay, I've got a mostly overcast morning, so it should be reasonable temperatures upstairs, up in the attic. So yeah, I want to get all of this crap out of the way. I got the wall patched up and that figured out, and so I'll finish that and hopefully paint. I might even mount that tool rack today. That'd be awesome. All right, I got this all up and installed, fixed the drywall, painted. It's almost the same color, good enough for a garage. Yeah, thrilled. I can organize all my tools, got my chargers up here. I'll set up a little thing for my my cameras so I'm not fumbling around always trying to find batteries and charge them, and do a little cord management. It's all plugged into the outlet on this other side, so yeah, pretty stoked. If you're watching me cut out supports and wondering why I'm okay with it, let me just show you what I've got going on. This is the I-beam crude drawing. I had a 2x6 here and here boxing it in. I had to notch out a good amount of that 2x6, so or both 2x6s, so I definitely wanted to support. Now, the way that this attaches, there's a vertical going up and a horizontal going for my actual joists there. So what I went ahead and did is I made sure on either side of this notch that I made sure I was tied in to the 2x6 on both sides of this. And then I had some scrap 2x6 pieces left over. I went ahead and reinforced on both sides of where I made the notch up here, and then tied those together so that we're not only resting on the beam here, we're tied in there on both sides, just to make sure that I've got support on either side of that notch. Additionally, what I did was I went ahead and, I think they call it sistering, I might be wrong about that, but took another piece of 2x6 here and lagged it into this one, just so whatever strength I lost by removing here for a few inches, I gained back by supporting it on either sides and basically doubling up the pieces of wood here. So if you have to do something like this and you wind up cutting out supports from your garage and you don't reinforce it, remember, it's not my fault if your roof collapses. I went ahead and I boxed in here so it's completely sealed from the attic, so when I turn the vent fan on, insulation isn't going to start blowing in here. Recovered all the insulation. I didn't film that. It's really terrible filming up there. When I checked, there was plenty of clearance between the garage door and the clamp. I'm hoping I can find a way to keep the chain hoist up there and suspend the hoist and the chains from the ceiling somehow so they're up and out of the way. I don't know if I'm going to get that lucky. I wanted to test out the brake feature on this chain hoist. So I have roughly 50 pounds worth of sand in the bucket here that I went ahead and hoisted up a little bit and tested the brake. And then, of course, I found the heaviest, most awkward thing around myself. And it looks like the brake feature is working properly as it should. So the rest of this video is going to be me swinging around like Miley Cyrus. And I much prefer the action of this chain hoist to the cherry pickers that I've used in the past. I find that the hydraulic, when you're pumping it up and trying to release it down, it's way too aggressive, we'll say. It either bounces as it's going up and down, or it's kind of all or nothing on the release of the pressure to lower it. With this, it's actually a nice controlled both raise and lower, so I'm pretty happy. So I went ahead and took some 2x ends and just ripped them down to fit over the drywall. Next time I'm out with the joint compound and paint, I'll clean this up, make it look a little better. I might put something across the side there just to make it look complete. This is, I would say, purely cosmetic, but it also helps protect the edges of the drywall. You know, we're really worried about that. All right, if you're still with me, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. It's pretty exciting to have a new capability in the garage. Hopefully we'll put it to good use soon.